Garnet Old, Saturday, 1:37. No inside info, no contacts, big problems. I
No,
am
no watch.
I am one of your hosts, Big Papa East, and that is the old one, the oldest of the bunch. Vince, how are you?
VCNole. VCNole. That's me. What happened, Ryan?
What do you mean? What do you
Okay.
mean?
I don't know. Something went weird. Okay, there we go. Yeah, things are going good here on a Saturday. I've already gone grocery shopping, Ryan. I've already polished up the horn here, getting ready for homecoming. Everything's looking good and shiny. Maybe I will actually be able to play a few notes. Um,
Do I look disheveled and tired enough for you?
you do. I had to text Ryan here a little bit ago and said, "Hey, man, what's the deal?" And
I
my
need some
typical,
foundation. I didn't do my
yeah,
makeup.
my typical go-to for Ryan or anybody really when I'm waiting for something is the meme of Spanky from the Little Rascals. So Ryan's like, "Oh yeah, I almost forgot about the show here today," but he's been
Yeah.
traveling, so. Um, let's shout out our sponsors, Ryan. We got Captain Black from Captain Black's Fishing in Panama City Beach, Florida. Longtime supporter of the show, financially, studio wise, emotionally, spiritually. He's just a supporter top to bottom. And we appreciate that. So if you're looking for some offshore fishing, call our buddy Captain John Black. You will not be disappointed. Let him know Garnet and Old sent you. And then we announced this a few weeks ago. We have a new game day tailgate sponsor, which is if you're familiar with Tallahassee, it is a tradition. It is a staple. It is a landmark. It's a lot of things. The Palace Saloon. Uh, you've been there. I know. I don't even really need to talk about it too much, but I will. The ownership are diehard Knowles, some friends of ours, and they are keeping the tradition going with the Palace. So thank you to the Palace Saloon as well.
Now, Vince, I'm still in Mount Dora here, which, by the way, it looks like I just got back from the Palace Saloon by my appearance and voice. But so in 2 weeks, I'll be back in the full office, new office, and everything. But I have something that I want to show the group here.
Oh,
That'll be kind of the
it's a
centerpiece of
big
the wall.
reveal. It's a big reveal.
So this is the old house. So pay no attention to the.
Oh, look at that. I like that.
Yeah,
Where did
isn't that
you?
nice?
Is that an Amazon find? Is it an
I
Aldi
don't
find?
know.
What is that?
Kristen bought it for me, so I
Oh,
don't
that's
know.
awesome.
Um,
A
but I like
clock
it a
is,
lot.
yeah, a clock is very apropos for today.
Mm-hmm.
So, does
It'll
it have
help
an
me keep
alarm?
on track.
Does
So I
it?
have that and my other doodads, and I'm going to be doing some. I decided against. Remember, at the last show, there was a bookshelf.
Yeah,
I wasn't feeling it. It didn't match the rest of the room, so the
yeah.
bookshelf is going to be gone. Floating shelves is what I'm going to do,
There you go. Yeah, floating shelves are nice.
and I'm going to position my chair. Now there will be a desk behind me with another computer, but like off to the corner a little bit.
Sure.
But I'm going to, in the design process, sit down and say, okay, floating shelf here, 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 and here, and have
Right.
it actually
M-
framed around me
Kind
with the
of
doodads.
frame the noggin.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm putting some thought and effort into it, and I think I'm gonna put the clock right above my head because the clock is right. What's the saying? I don't know. You
I don't
can't fool
know.
me again.
Yeah, fool me twice. Shame
Can't
on
get fooled
you.
again.
My studio here, which just kind of built up over time, I didn't really intend it to be a studio. It was just the place where I worked. I'm not really overly enamored with the layout of it yet. So I may be doing some rearranging here myself. Um, oh, GGGM06. Look at this. A little. She reposted the stream. Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Uh,
Anytime I see a new person in the chat, I like to shout it out.
Yeah, speaking of, we're not normally doing a show like this on Saturday. There's games going on and people are watching games.
Ole
I mean,
Miss,
you could always,
Oklahoma right now.
I mean, you could watch games and still pay attention to the show. I know Ryan has done a watch along as well, which
Yeah.
turned out really good. So we're not really sure how much of a crowd we're going to get here today, but no matter what, we always want to have a goal, and our goal, as usual, is $100, and that's the goal for today. Our goal stat: we are currently at $0. So if you're interested in getting your comment read, absolutely and for sure, you do that by hitting the super chat button, which looks like a $ near the comments. So that would be a way that you could do that, and that's our goal. And if we hit the goal today, we're going to give away 5 Garnet and Old memberships, which is a month-long, free of charge, Ryan, free of charge, month-long membership to the show.
My goal today is to get a shower at some point. That and to shave the head and do the whole thing, and then also sleep tonight. That would be awesome too. All the things that one would do to not look like shit on camera, So
Yeah.
but this is a. I feel like my presentation today, Vince, accurately reflects the state of the program, which is disheveled, useless, and somewhat late to the party here.
Yeah, it seems like you've got you kind of partied a little too late. Maybe you didn't set the alarm. Maybe you just ate a cold slice of pizza.
Oh, there's hot pizza. It just got here before you texted me saying, "Remember the show?"
Yeah, remember the show.
I almost brought pizza in here, but then I didn't want the chewing sounds.
Yeah,
thought that might be too much.
So we didn't do the show on Thursday night. It actually worked out pretty well because Ryan needed a little more time to process, but also Ryan had an event he had to do, and so did I. And that's rare when both of us are not available on a Thursday night. So hopefully you enjoyed the commercial we put together for the Saturday show. I thought it was a little tongue-in-cheek, humorous. I saw a neighbor of mine up at the Aldi, and I said, "Hey, how you doing?" He goes, "Hey, I enjoyed the commercial. It was very funny." So at least one person thought it was funny.
Well, that's all I need in any situation is one person to laugh at my jokes.
Yeah.
So speaking of the program,
let's get to it.
In a world full of exciting coaching movements and Kiffin's talking to teams and Nick Saban saying, "Don't let Sexton near my wife," we are just kind of sitting here going, we're just hanging around.
Just hanging around.
Yeah, which I don't like that feeling, Vince. I feel like now's the time. Now, I'm sure behind the scenes there might be things happening, but
there absolutely are.
I feel like now's the time to get with the getting. And I think, Vince, did you listen to any of Cameron this week?
I have a hard time. Yes, I listened to a little bit of it, but I'll say that while I like Cameron quite a bit, there are some things that kind of drone on, and I just kind of have to turn it off for a little bit.
So the only reason I bring up that show is because Tom Lang kind of went on which I appreciate. By the way, I've been clamoring for years for a Tom Lang only solo show.
Yeah,
with just him. He kind of reflected my overall feeling right now, which is what do you do? What are you doing? There's no reason not to make the move now, unless you think he has a chance to come back next year, which I don't think anyone believes that that's the case here. So you're just kind of forcing a guy to go out on the field and the team and wear the booze, right? Because it is going to happen. It'll be a homecoming celebration, Vince, like no other. I imagine when the big board says, and head coach Mike Norvell, you imagine the boos are going to happen.
I know that they are.
You're forcing that guy to go out there and kind of wear it.
Is he going to pick some fights with some folks in the stands like another coach we had?
I don't know. You're forcing the fan base to be in this awkward position where we know it's inevitable, but now we just have to watch this product on the field. Because a lot of times when you fire a coach mid-season, well, at least then you're like, well, now I'm going to go support the team and hey, let them know it's going to get better and we'll get a guy in here and all that. But until they do that, the focus is going to be on the failures of the staff.
Yeah.
From the fan base as a whole, majority, I would say, not all, but
I wouldn't say majority, but go ahead.
I think that it's a disservice to not only listen. I mean, he makes millions of dollars, but a disservice to Mike Norvell to have to put him out there every week, like roll out the old punching bag.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think it's not good for anyone. I don't think it's good for the fan base. I don't think it's good optically. I don't think it's good for the administrators, the boosters, the recruiting class. I think it's all negative. And so the only thing, Vince, I've racked my head about this. I had a lot of long drives lately. I racked my head, and I had to come up with a scenario in which it makes sense. I don't think it's about the money. If they had a specific situation, specific circumstances, which they had their guy or something, they would make the move. It's clear as day. Like they would. It's not the money. Okay, they would find a way to finance it, whatever they have to do. So the only answer I came up with, Vince, the only one, is that the primary target or candidate that they have in mind between the gentleman's agreement behind the scenes has said, hey, I would appreciate it if we not do this right now, like you not fire your coach, because then the hot boards start coming and then rumors start coming out and then my name gets out and then I'm answering questions while I'm in the middle of the season. So how about gentleman's agreement? I'm on board. Let's do this at the end of the season. That's the only logical argument that I can come up with.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, that's probably what is going on. When you say, people are going to go to the game and they're going to boo, yes, there are going to be boos. But regardless of whether Coach Norvell is coaching that team or not, you should be going to support the team anyway. So regardless of whether he's the coach or not, and I went back and forth with some people on X quite a bit recently about, people were saying, go to boo, just go to the games to boo the man. No, man, I go to the games for other reasons. I go to the games to support the team. I go to the games to support the Chiefs. I mean, it's more than just football to me. And I know it is like that for a lot of people. You don't get that from the social media realm. The only thing you get from the social media or most of the stuff you get from that realm is the rabid, fringe kind of stuff a lot of the time. So I know there are going to be boos. And there will be cheers as well.
To make it clear, I would boo if I was there.
No, I know you would. You and I are very different when it comes to that. But would you boo him specifically and then not boo again for the rest of the game after they're done announcing him?
People boo at bad calls on the field. Boos happen in sports.
I boo referees. That's what
I wouldn't be shouting racial epithets at the players and throwing drinks at them. Yeah. I would be just booing. And the best example I can give, I worked at Chick-fil-A for 10 years.
Your pleasure.
At about, I think it was 2013, 2014, right around there. Do you remember the whole controversy? Like the whole, hey, Dan Cathy and gives money to, against same-sex marriages and all that kind of stuff. And so there was I think a boycott.
Sure.
And people would have assumed, because I worked at Chick-fil-A, so I'd have people come up to me, friends, family, and say, isn't this so stupid, like this happening? And I would say, no. And they were always surprised when I said that because I work for the company. And I agree with Dan Cathy as an individual being able to give his money to whomever he wants to.
It's his money.
But they were surprised that I said, no, I think it's not ridiculous that people express themselves in this situation. And they're like, yeah, but it's just punishment for the team members, the people at the store. And I said, hold on, I want to separate something. People have to be able to express their beliefs, their disenfranchisement, they're upset with certain things about a company, a team, a whatever. And there's not a whole lot of ways to do that. It's not like I can get a private meeting with Mike Norvell and really give him a piece of my mind.
We've tried.
And so there's very few ways in a fan team scenario that you can express yourself and displeasure. So at the time with the Chick-fil-A thing, I said, no, when they're coming in here, they are not expressing hate for the team members. And I that day that big protest happened, I didn't see any hate towards team members at all, not one. They were simply protesting something that they believe that the top man of a company was doing something that's against their values or against their beliefs, or they don't agree with how that is going. And we as employees, even me working there, should be okay and say, listen, and put it in context of, when I hear the boos, I know why they're booing. And so when people want to go to the game, including me, if I was at that game, to boo boo, the players are not dumb. They know the situation. By the way, they are handsomely paid, so it's a little bit different, in my opinion, than when they were amateurs. But if I'm on the field as a player and I hear boos when Mike Norvell's name is called out, or I hear boos when bad play call or something, whatever, I would be like, yeah, this is kind of I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
it's not like they're booing me, the player. They're booing because they want this guy gone. So to me,
go ahead.
I don't separate in my mind the fan that boos as any less of a fan that person that doesn't boo. What I do think is that it's just two different personality types. One person, in this case you, Vince, can have your frustrations and be pissed off about the situation, but internalize it and kind of keep it to yourself, or talk to your friends about it. But then your end goal is to go out, support the Chiefs, support the players and the university that you love. From people like me, on my perspective, I'm a little bit more outspoken about everything I believe in public. And so it's just who I am. So the only way I can get it out of my system is not keep it all bundled up, or else I'll get really pissed off, is to get out of my system by telling others how I think about things. And I think that's probably a 50-50 split.
Okay, so let me clear. Like, I don't like the fact that there's going to be booing. I don't like it. It's going to happen, and I understand why. And I don't think of those fans as any less of fans at all. I have a different viewpoint on it, and that is he's just not good enough. He's not good enough to run the team the way the program needs to be run. It's not for lack of effort. It's not for lack of passion. It's not for lack of want to. Like, that's nothing to do with it. I would have no problem booing a guy that, was cashing checks for the university and didn't do any recruiting for 8 months. I have no problem booing that, because there's no integrity there, right? But as far as I know, Mike Norvell has done everything within his power to go about it the right way. It just didn't work out. So I'm not going to boo that. But I do understand that people are going to boo regardless, because that's the way they deal with those kind of things.
And to be honest with you, if I was there, my booing would not even be mostly at Mike Norvell. It would be at the administration not making the move to fire Mike Norvell. In fact, I think it's unfair to Mike Norvell.
Hold on to that thought, Ryan. Hold on to that thought. I want to get to the super chat because it's been here for a while. Daniel Gorby, longtime viewer of the program. If we lose to Wake Forest, is that Mike's last game?
No idea.
Thank you for the super chat, Daniel. We are $5 toward our $100 goal. So that's how we're going to climb, Ryan.
Yeah, this is a great time to really kind of put in the effort and show your heart. But the answer is, Daniel Gorby, is that no, if anyone tells you they know, they are lying. The reality is, I could see him, despite any losses the rest of the year, making all the way through the rest of the season, then firing him after the season. I could see them firing him randomly throughout this week after they say they reevaluated and
It could
came
happen
to a
at any moment.
decision.
At any moment, it could happen.
It could happen after Wake. It could happen after Miami, not after Miami, after Florida game at the end of the year. It could happen anytime.
Yep.
It will happen, and none of us will know it's going to happen until, like the Willie Taggart situation. I don't actually think Vince or I at the time thought that Sunday that he got fired was going to be the day that he got fired, because he had already sucked to high heaven for multiple games, and we were like, well, it's. In fact, I think we're on record during that time on our show saying we think it'll likely be at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so who knows what goes into when an administration makes a sent. But I'm not even joking. If this Tuesday came on, we haven't even played another game, and they said we've decided to move on from Mike Norvell, all that meant is whatever they didn't have their ducks lined up last week, they got it lined up, and now they're all in lockstep and ready to make a move. That's all that would mean.
That is exactly what is going on here, right? When you look at the situation, why do you not fire him? Well, because it's not because you don't necessarily have the money. All that talk about that is just rivals and people, hanging on to old mentalities about how this thing all works. There's no way a program like Florida State is going to continue to languish in the situation that's in and have money be the problem. The money is going to be there. Now, the way that money comes about, you're going to be taxing the same people, roughly the same group of people, and you're going to be asking them, if you had that kind of money, Ryan, if I had that kind of money, and someone asked me, hey, would you be willing to, contribute toward getting us to the next phase? The first question I'm going to ask is, what's the plan?
What will be different this time than the last two times?
What's the plan? Because, and not that I'm saying no, it's just saying I want more information. So, do they have the 60 million check written right now, or whatever it is? No, but they have the ability to get that money when the time is necessary, because I think that's what you're waiting for, and I think you're right. It could happen tomorrow. It could happen next Tuesday. It could happen next Friday. Once the people that are making decisions are in a comfortable place, not just financially, but with what the plan is, with who the next person is going to be, that's when you're going to see something happen. Yeah. Unfortunately, and I think you were about to get to this point, unfortunately, that has thrown a huge toxic wedge within this fan base right now. And if I could impart some wisdom to people, if I could give some people some of my calmness about it, what I would tell them is just wait. You're going to get blood. You're going to get blood. You're going to get it. You want someone to pay for this problem, and it's going to happen. You're just going to have to wait. Not everything is, snap decisions, especially at this level.
Yeah.
So
I think
I'm that's the part that I'm frustrated about. Yeah. Is that because I care about the whole thing.
Yeah.
I do, Ryan. You know me. I care about the team. Yes. I care about the university. I care about the colors. I care about the logo. I care about the student body. I care about the Marching Chiefs, the College of Music. And I care about, unfortunately, I care about the way this fandom interacts with itself, both in person and in the ether sphere.
Yeah.
I care about that. And it is not going well right now.
Yeah. I think putting myself in the position of let's say a multimillionaire, and I'm the one being asked the question, the reason why I have frustration of why it hasn't already happened is because, to me, I don't see the difference between firing him today and then still figuring all that other stuff out, or firing him in 2 weeks and figuring out all the stuff ahead of time. Unless, and this is a big unless, some of the biggest donors don't think that Michael Alford should be the athletic director anymore. And you would not fire a coach first and then an athletic director. You would fire the athletic director, hire an athletic director, and then the athletic director would find the new head coach. No different than if a new CEO was coming in at a company, you wouldn't hire a bunch of VP level people until that CEO started and let them be the deciding factor. But if that's not happening, if Michael Alford, which I do believe Michael Alford will still continue to be the athletic director.
I want to talk about that point next. Okay.
But being that I believe that, then I don't see it. I'll use another analogy. Vince, when we work together, if someone sucked, even though we're going to be behind on tickets, for the next couple weeks, fire them, and then we'll post the job and we'll figure it out. Rather than keeping them around and have it be a toxic environment because they're a toxic employee while we're posting the job and trying to get a backfill in the meantime. It's just two different mentalities on order of operations. And my order of operations is always avoid the toxicity, get it done. People would be going to this homecoming game if Odell Higgins was the interim head coach, cheering full breath and saying thank you to the administration for firing Mike Norvell, supporting Odell, supporting the team, saying, hey, we're going to reboot this thing. We're going to get back to normal. So in my opinion, again, it does nobody any good to do it this way. Well, I just don't think it does.
I mean, the toxicity in the fan base right now, for sure. But Mike Norvell is not a toxic individual.
Toxicity in the program, apparently, too, though.
Maybe.
With the players saying that they're joking around about the respond thing. That's not good.
Did that really happen?
I mean, their official, it was from like Yahoo Sports and Ross. You would have to assume well-sourced, but they wouldn't just report nonsense, It's not sliced bread, spread rumors.
Right. Let's talk about Alford. I don't understand the vitriol around him.
I don't have any problems with Michael Alford himself.
Anyone
would be mad at the athletic director in this situation.
I know, but he did not hire him. Excuse me. And all the hires he's made have turned out pretty good thus far.
And they have all been very aggressive hires, which is why, Vince, going back to my original point at the beginning of the show, maybe he's doing a solid for a coach that currently has a job that's a bigger name.
It could be.
That doesn't want all this nonsense around them. And they're saying, okay, then in that case, that's the only way I would get behind it. If it's being asked to do it.
Yeah, but that if you think about it, when you think about what the possible scenarios are, right, that is the one, right, that makes the most sense. So, I'm leaning on that because I think that is the case.
Yeah, it's Occam's razor. The most logical solution is likely what's happening.
Yeah. So back to Alford, though, there are plenty of people that were upset with the stadium redo.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. I mean, there are still some people for sure. I mean, there was going to be pain there no matter what, no matter who the administrative or the athletic director was. There was going to be pain there. That situation had to be rectified. Now you can argue, the types of things that were put in the stadium or seats that were taken out of the stadium or whatever, but you were going to get some blowback about that change.
Yeah, no one's going to argue it's beautiful though. It's well
done. The football only facility, a Taj Mahal, right? I haven't been in there yet. I'm looking forward to, I don't know if I have any contacts out there. I'd love to go on a tour of that. I know we all would. But, I just don't get, other than the fact that people wanted him to fire him basically on camera, on field.
That's what it is. Yeah.
After that game. That's what, the microwave generation that we're all in right now, that's what everybody wanted. And that's just not going to happen. So I don't get the angst about him. I think he's done a well above average job in leading Florida State through a number of different things.
Yeah, and people have to remember, Vince, because everyone's bringing up, well, Florida made a move. Guys, we are at the point now that Florida was in last year. Okay. Billy Napier had been sucking in Florida for a while. So the feeling we're having now of Mike Norvell is like midseason last year where Florida is.
Correct.
And he didn't do it. They didn't fire Billy Napier on game 2 or 3 or 4. Like, it took a couple weeks, despite the message boards going crazy and wanting him to be fired right now. So it feels immediate because we're not fans of the Florida program. But for the Florida fans, they were like, good Lord, this took forever. Like, he should have been fired a long time ago.
I got a number of close Florida fans that are friends of mine. Trust me, this is long overdue for them. They were ready last year, early in the season last year.
But it doesn't help. Vince, here's where I will sympathize with fans up here. When another team that's right around the corner from you, that's a competitor of yours, has fired their coach, and the biggest name, coaching name in the sport right now, or one of them, is rumored to be the likely candidate, it's easy to be in a jealous position. Well, they fired their coach, and they're going to get Lane Kiffin, and we're screwed. If Florida if let's say Billy Napier was right now, like, had an okay record, and he wasn't going anywhere this year, I think the anxiety behind this would be a lot less. But when you have a direct competitor, a rival, making the moves and getting the big names, you're like, well, I'm ready to do that too. It's a jelly. It's like, man, I want to be on the hot board. I want to get. So I do sympathize with Florida State fans. It's bad timing because your competitor is doing all the things you want to be doing right now. So I think that's amplifying things a bit.
Well, also, don't necessarily think that Lane Kiffin is out of the mix just because Florida's job is open.
Oh, he's
right
going
now.
there. No, he's going there.
Well, he might be. I'm just saying, but
you don't schedule time to talk to your team about the situation unless that's what's happening. And his quote being, and I want to tell the players, like, all this is good stuff because it reflects on how good they've played. Yeah. Okay, tell me you're leaving without telling me you're leaving. Like,
we'll see. But my point in saying that is, Ole Miss's season is still well intact.
They're playing right now. What's the score in Oklahoma?
It was 15-10 last I saw, or something like that. But I lost my train of thought. So, he is understanding that there are going to be a number of jobs that are open this fall or after this season,
for all of them.
And he'll be rumored for all of them. So why would you, unless it was too great to pass up, why would you commit at this moment when you know that there are other schools that are going to be available?
I don't think it's out of the picture that he leaves in mid-season. That's why.
Yeah, I doubt that very seriously.
No, I think there's like a greater than 10% chance that happens. His personality and his, maybe, because we don't know, maybe he cannot stand something behind, like he's hated the, absolute vitriol on someone in the administration, and he's like, I can't wait to screw this guy.
Could you imagine? Just been waiting. Yeah. Could you imagine after he's kind of rehabbed his image,
if he did that,
bolting in the middle of a season?
Oh, it would be a poor PR move. I would not recommend it.
Absolutely tragic to do that. I want to post this up because Daniel Gorby has given us great updates here. Baseball teams went in right now 9-4. BJ Gibson just scored. BJ Gibson, by the way, that left the football program not that long ago to focus on baseball. Rightly so. His ceiling for baseball is much higher, I believe. So,
Vince, I do want to talk about the salted peanut and Coca-Cola in the room, which is Jimbo Fisher.
Before you remind everybody about the goal, Ryan.
Yeah, our super chat goal of $100. We have 5.
We have 5 of 100.
What
does that mean if we don't hit the goal, Ryan? What does that mean?
We need to respond next week. That's what it means.
That's right. We have to respond. We know what it looks like when $100 is hit. Yeah. I know what it's supposed to look like. And there are a number of people watching there are more people watching on YouTube than we have likes.
Yeah.
So I think the YouTube viewership, the people that are watching YouTube, should actually hit the like button. I want that to be equal. That would be great. And then those of you that are watching on X, there are a lot. I see you. And I believe in you, and I care for you. And thank you for watching. Go over to YouTube and hit the like button if you don't mind. All right, so let's get to Jimbo. Let's get to Jimbo.
Let's talk. This will probably be the main, like the final big I think picture here. for this episode, just because I don't think there's too much else to say really about the situation, because there's nothing until it happens. I have been on record.
You have the opportunity to respond, Ryan.
I have been on record for a couple weeks now, even since the beginning of the season, even at the beginning of the season before the Alabama game, that if this thing went south, that they should go to Jimbo Fisher. And I think it's likely that that's exactly what will happen. And I'll tell you my factors, and then I'll let you go on your rant and rave on why I'm insane. I did appreciate the sentiment he gave on the set of ACC kickoff on some of the shows, and other times in the podcasts he's been on with players. And I think it would be a cost-saving maneuver, because he would probably take a very low salary, which would offset the financial toll it would take on the program in getting rid of Mike Norvell. I think he is a fantastic recruiter and talent evaluator, which is what is most needed right now at Florida State. I'm hesitant to say this, but I would hope that with perspective in place of the Texas A&M situation, that he would from start go out and hire a legitimate offensive coordinator, like an actual one, and not like a weird one that doesn't make any sense and it seems odd. But like, I'm talking like an up and coming, like really well thought of offensive coordinator, and say, you know what, my time, doing this, it passed me by. Clearly, didn't go well, and kind of take the CEO head coach approach. And I do think he would do good at being a CEO head coach approach, better than an offensive coordinator. And I think that for the most part, he would be welcomed back with mostly open arms, especially if the recruiting started ticking up. Now, the negatives are clear. His last season here happened. So we can't pretend that didn't happen. What we don't now, some would say it doesn't matter, even if this stuff was happening behind the scenes. He shouldn't have done the things he did in that final season, the recruiting situation, all that. I do want to put an asterisk on this thing. We don't know how ugly it was behind the scene between him and the administration. And maybe it was just that toxic, and he was like, screw you guys, and whatever. Most people would say it doesn't matter. It shouldn't affect your on-the-job performance. But what I will say for Jimbo Fisher is and no one can argue this, he does come from growing up with the Bowdens in his life, extremely close. He's still close with them. He's brought up on multiple podcasts. He's still close with the Bowden sons, and I do believe he actually retroactively. I don't believe when he says I never wanted to leave. But I do believe that when you have something happen like it happened, then you go to the other place, the grass isn't always greener. And then you can look back introspectively and say, I wish I had never left it, I think is the correct statement from Jimbo Fisher that he should say. I wish I had never left. When I look back at it, I wish you would admit to, like, hey, I made some poor decisions and I wish I could do things differently. I can't, but I do feel for that. That would be nice to hear from him. But I think from a cost, a recruitment, a talent evaluator, and if he made the right moves on hiring the right coordinators, that I think it could work, and it could work really well. And I think that's what they should do. Mainly because I don't want to be in the Lane Kiffin $13 million sweepstakes. I don't want to go out and get some of these names. Now, you could go the USF coach route, but guess what? That guy still if he did well the first year, would come out and ask for $12 million the next year, because that's the market rate. You could probably get a pretty long-term deal at minimum 3 to 4 years at Jimbo Fisher, because that's what's left on his Texas A&M contract, and do a cost savings over multiple years. And I think that plays heavily into why I think it's the right move. Okay, Vince, go.
The two main things, or actually there are three main things, or reasons why this will never happen. The first one would be, once someone shows you who they are, you should believe them. Okay?
People can change.
When you basically fleece a university for months on end, And because of that fleecing, put the program in a tailspin that really, if you think about it, we really haven't really come out of since then. So that's one thing. The second thing is there's a big if there when you're saying, well, if he'd be willing to realize that the game has passed him by and he's going to go out and find a coordinator. That ain't him, man. He is not going to do that. He only did that begrudgingly at his last school. And who did he bring in? Bobby Petrino, right?
Yeah, well, I think that was likely a situation which he said, fine, you guys want me to bring someone in here, I'm going to bring someone in. But there's no way to know for sure what he would do in this situation.
Yeah, there's no way he's going to do that because he's that's just not the type.
So that's a main disagreement point. I would hope with perspective he would.
Yeah, well, I don't believe he has that in him. And then the third thing would be, of all the things that are going wrong within the program, athletically within the athletic department as a whole, there's a lot going right in terms of personalities and relationships and everybody rowing the boat in the same direction. I mean, Jimbo is, at least historically, has had a problem working well with others. So I don't think I don't care if it's for free, Ryan. I don't think you bring in someone that has a bad past history with you, someone that's not willing to, there's been no evidence to be willing to do things differently. And then top that all off with, why would you bring in even the possibility of toxicity within the athletic department as a whole? I can't see it happening.
I think all that makes sense, but you also can't ignore man won a national championship here.
With a generational quarterback.
And then even without that generational quarterback, had multiple 10-win seasons.
And lost to NC State when he shouldn't have. I mean...
Well, every coach is going to have things that they... But what I'm saying is, if you look at Mike Norvell, he had a splash-in-the-pan season. And besides that, it's been a whole lot of 500 football.
Listen, I'm not juxtaposing Jimbo with Mike Norvell. That's not this at all.
Would you at least agree that Jimbo's, if you were to average it out, Jimbo's average record that you likely could expect in most seasons was 10 wins and a chance to win the conference?
We were not doing this show back when Jimbo was the coach, but I was saying this to many people at the time. We should expect 3 lost seasons with Jimbo on average.
I think if you just look at his tenure here, you have the 14-0 in the 13-1 season in 2013, 2014. You had, other than that, you had a 12-win season in 2012. You had 3 10-win seasons. You had 1 9-win season. And then you had his last season, which and I think even you would agree, his final season. It's hard to judge that on a pure, man, you really, hold on. I want to be specific about this. From a pure, there was no outside factors in that, because there always
was outside factors with Jimbo.
No, I'm talking like major outside factors where it was falling apart in other ways that he clearly was going to leave at the end of the year. There was clearly the big falling out. So I would be willing, just like I'm willing to cross out a line through Mike Norvell's 2-10 season last year as, wow, that was weird until this year. I was willing to, going into this season, you know me, Vince, I was willing to go, man, that could have just been an odd, weird season. It could be. I'm willing to do that with that 2017 team. So what you got with Jimbo Fisher was 1 season of 9 wins and the rest 10, 12, 13, 14. It's impossible to ignore that.
We're talking including bowl games, though. But I get your point.
And conference championships.
Again, I am not I'm not comparing Jimbo with Mike Norvell. Neither one of them deserve to be the coach of this team. Neither one of them do.
I think
I'm
deserve
saying,
is subjective, not objective.
yeah, I mean, I say neither one of them are the answer. How about that? Neither one of them are the answer
Kind of
for this
subjective too.
program. Is it? Well, of course it is. We're doing a show here. Of
The
course
only
it's
objective
subjective.
thing you can say is that one was either who is a better coach, and here's the biggest argument I have, and that I believe this is my subjective argument. I believe Jimbo Fisher, the exact Jimbo Fisher we had, you take the goods and the bads, all the stuff we had with Jimbo, would outperform any coach we can get on the open market right now. Because we're not going to go out and get a Dan Lanning, Nick Saban.
Yeah, but
guys,
Ryan,
it's a pipe dream. It's not happening.
I get it, but if we got 1993, 95 Bobby Bowden, he would outcoach any people on the market these days.
2016 Jimbo Fisher would outcoach anyone in the market that we could get right now.
Yeah,
2011 Jimbo
that's
Fisher
irrelevant. That's irrelevant because that's not who he is.
I think it is who he is. What I think happened
not who he is
at Texas A&M, and I want to play into the Texas A&M narrative a little bit because I know a lot of people bring up it, and it's fine. He was there. That happened. Sometimes, and this, Vince. This is not just me. I would defend this against multiple different kinds of coaches. Brian Kelly is a great example of this. Sometimes it's just not a fit for whatever reason, and it's inexplainable. And there's so many examples of this where one coach, uber successful, oh my God, can't miss, goes to another team, and it's like, what the hell? Like, how is that even possible? If you had told me, Vince, that Brian Kelly would be where he is now with LSU, I don't like Brian Kelly. I would not want to play for Brian Kelly, but I thought he'd do the exact same thing he did at Notre Dame, which is kick a lot of ass and win a lot of games. In fact, I thought it was a good hire for LSU. If you just are worried only about winning games, that was the move to make for Brian Kelly. I think it's happened with a lot of coaches. I think you can go down the list of how come that didn't work. That is so weird. It's amazing that didn't work. And then they go to another school and they're right back to doing their thing and having success. And it's like, well, why is that? Just like a player can be terrible at one school and transfer, and he's all of a sudden like an amazing player. Sometimes it's just a new scenery, different environment. Now, I'm not saying Jimbo would come here and it would be good old times and we're just rolling again. But what I do think is I know that devil better than the unknowns of the people that coach at Tulsa.
Yeah, I know. And it's kind of what I was getting at a little bit is that for some reason, people think there's this way to go back in time and they have a comfort in that. And I'm just telling you that the chances of that working out are very, very slim. So why not move this program forward rather than go backward?
It would be different, I think, if Jimbo was like 80 years old, but I think he's young enough. And listen, would you at least, we can agree on one point with Jimbo Fisher in this whole situation. He is absolutely jockeying, trying to get interest for this position.
For sure.
He's been Vince, I said to you in June when he started doing all these podcast rounds, I was like, my man is putting himself out there for two reasons. His 1A is, man, if that Florida State job comes open and Mike Norvell gets fired, he would love to be considered. And two, any other job around the country. He is on a warpath of trying to recalibrate his image. And he doesn't interview with Yahoo Sports and Ross Dellinger or whoever to say, I've been watching film and seeing what's big around the country and what works and what's not working. I've been putting together a staff. So whoever gets him, Vince, he's going to have his posse. I guarantee you he'll have his guys ready to go. Like, he already knows who it is, already has agreements from them. Like, yeah, I'm ready to go when you are. So I like that. I like the take all the negatives with Jimbo and get the guy that at least has shown that he can win some football games and will bring in a hell of a recruiting operation here than to bring in a, for all we know, guy from another group of five teams that is our next Billy Napier or Willie Taggart. It's really hard to know what you're going to get in either situation, but I have a little bit more understanding of what it will look like under one of them.
Yeah, I think that's part of it is people are, like I said, they like the security blanket of something they know,
Sure.
but that doesn't, that doesn't move the program forward, especially when there are enough red flags with that thing that you know. It's like, could you imagine, Ryan? Because this could go either way, right? He would come on board, and he could recruit his ass off. He could, I mean, you want to take all the positives. He could get a different offensive coordinator. We could be winning a bunch of games, right? And everything would be hunky dory. And everybody
Yeah.
that said Jimbo, Jimbo, Jimbo would be saying, hey, we told you so. It's equally as likely, maybe even more likely, that he would come in, try to be the king of the world again, not be willing to make any changes, and treat everybody like garbage.
I that's where the biggest disagreement is. I think, like any human being in the world, lived experiences can have an effect on how you do things differently. And all he had going into Texas A&M was nothing but, let's say, for the most part, success at Florida State. And he thought, well, that man, my shit don't stink. I'm going to Texas A&M, and now I have more money, so it's going to be even better. It can be a little kick to the gonads if you fail and get fired somewhere. And it can make someone reevaluate how they would do it next time if they give him the opportunity again.
I hope that he's rehabilitated, Ryan. I really do, because I want the best for people. Of course, he's got $80 million he can spend. So what more could you want for him? But I just don't want to risk. I think it's a silly way to risk the near-term future of our program because of some familiarity and some nostalgia with things that have long since passed. I think that is short-sighted.
I think even you would say, Vince, even if you say it's a very, very less than 1% chance, I don't even think you can say it's impossible that it would happen.
I don't know enough people in the building to be able to say it's a 0% chance.
Right.
So I will allow for a 1% chance. Yes.
And
but
you know me, I would do a victory lap if it happened. As would my least favorite person in the world, Aslan Hutchavandi, because that man is dying on that hill too. So it's the only time I think I've ever agreed with him in the history of anything. I would come on here with my eyes up and my heart on my sleeves, and I would say, "Welcome back, Jimbo. You made a mistake. You're going to own up to them, and you're going to change your ways, and we're going to get the best Jimbo Fisher with no divorce happening and his kid grown up." And you've been. I do think, Vince. I don't want to underplay how weird it is, but also endearing to me that he chose to move back to Tallahassee.
His family lives here.
No,
He's
I
still
know,
got a
but
house here.
my point is, he with his money, he could have. It's not like he didn't have anyone living with him or near him in Texas. He could have gone anywhere with that money. He chose to come back and live full time in Tallahassee. So clearly, he liked. People see him. It's not people see him around like eating at restaurants, and he's already in the community. So it's not like he already hasn't been here. He's been here what now 2 years post Texas A&M, just being a part of Tallahassee.
I'd love to see Jim. I'd love to pull up to Madso and be sitting next to Jimbo having some BLT dip. I would love to do that. I just don't want him coaching our team.
Would you tell him that to his face?
Would I say that to him?
If he said, "Man, I'm."
If he said, "Okay, so we're going to dream world here."
Yeah.
Pretend Jimbo Fisher gives one damn about sliced bread, right? Yeah. And he watches this show. And there's nothing that he could take from this show other than the fact that we are absolutely 100% dyed in the wool, garnet and gold, loving people. We want the best for this program. And he hears you and he hears me. And he has to convince me the difference. He has to convince me, right? If he approached me, I would say this. I'd say, Jimbo, thank you for the titles, or for the title. It was a great memory. I remember me grabbing my young daughters in the, close to midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning and jumping up and down with them when we won the title. It's such a great memory for me. But Jimbo, I know that you did not do, I know you didn't fulfill your obligations as the leader of this program for several months before, when you already knew that you were leaving. You basically took money out of my pocket and didn't do anything with it. So yes, I have a problem with you being the coach of this team again.
What if he said to you then, Vince, you're right. It was one of the worst decisions I've ever made. It was a really low point in my life, and I've changed it a lot, Vince, and I want you to give me another shot. What if he showed contrition, like honest contrition?
I'm a second chance guy, Ryan.
Right.
You're hitting me right in my heart. You can't do that.
Right now, you would feel a lot different if he was on that ACC network show a couple months back, and he said,
and he looked in the camera and he said, VCNole.
No. What if he had looked in the camera and said, God, and it was when everyone was cheering his name, he's cheering up. He's like,
nope.
I really messed this thing up.
I'll say no right now because that is staged.
So, but one-on-one, it would be good.
One-on-one's different, man.
Yeah.
One-on-one is different. One-on-one, you have to own that then if you're lying, like honest. If your honesty is in jeopardy there, you have to own that you looked someone dead in the eye and said, VCNole, I cheated this university out of millions of dollars because I didn't do my job for months before I left.
What if he said society?
And facilities. He would have the facilities now.
Yeah, no excuse now, but I think that's a good place to start. It was a fun way to stop the show, to end the show. Thank you for the $5, guys. Thank you only Daniel Gorby for the $5. We need to really take a look in the mirror and
we need to get our bank accounts up, our eyes up.
But let's wrap it up, Vince. Let's all go watch some college football. I'm going to go eat the pizza that is waiting for me. And Vince, I'll let you take us out.
Yeah, no inside info, no contacts, no problem. Usually not on Saturdays. Usually on Thursdays at 7. But you get a Saturday night show or a Saturday show for today. We want to thank Captain John Black of Captain Black's Fishing, Panama City Beach, Florida, longtime sponsor of the show, and also our newest sponsor, the Palace Saloon, a tradition here in Tallahassee. If you've not been to the Palace in a while, what is you doing? You need to go back there and frequent the place you used to frequent when you were younger, the Palace Saloon, a tradition. Go Noles and send Chiefs all the damn time.
Have fun, everyone. Have a good weekend. Take care.